Now it's time to go fish.
Just don't tell them!
Seafood is any form of sea life regarded as food by humans and includes fish and shellfish. Would you believe humans have been harvesting and consuming seafood since the Upper Paleolithic period? That's between 50 and 10,000 years ago.
Fish are the cold-blooded swimmers of the seas. They're in gills, fins, and usually scales. Shellfish are aquatic shelled mollusks, like an oyster, a clam, or crustaceans, like a crab or a shrimp, especially one that's edible and delicious. Regardless of the type of fish or shellfish you select, seafood is a high-protein, low-fat food with a really good omega-3 fats, making it one of the healthiest choices for the center of any plate. Fish can be separated into lake, freshwater, or ocean, saltwater. Freshwater fish are more mild in flavor, while saltwater fish have a brinier, traditional fishy taste.
Fish can be broken down in similar ways to other meats: lean or oil-rich, flaky or firm, dark or white. Salmon, bluefin tuna, and sardines are dark and oil-rich. Pacific cod, halibut, striped bass, and catfish are white, lean, and firm. Arctic char, mahi-mahi, and yellowfin tuna are medium-colored and oil-rich. Flounder, red snapper, and tilapia are white, lean, and flaky. And finally, Chilean sea bass, albacore tuna, and lake trout are white, firm, and oil-rich.
Fish are available in seemingly countless shapes and sizes. Because of this delicious diversity, it can at times be difficult to understand what part of a fish you should be using in different recipes, or even which cut to pick up on your next grocery trip. Luckily, there are a number of common fish cuts, no matter if you're eating tilapia, salmon, or tuna. So once you find your favorites, you should have no problem identifying them across the board, or ocean.
Whole fish may not be a cut per se, but it's still a common way to prepare fish. Using the whole fish allows you to season or stuff it with anything, depending on how creative you want to get. Some cooks like to keep everything intact when they are working with the whole fish, while others prefer to gut it.
Located above the spine, loins are the prime cuts. Loins are the thickest part of the fillet and come in narrow strips that are rich in flavor and pack a punch if prepared just right. Season loins well and cook them to your desired texture, much like you would a beef steak. This thick, flavorful cut is best grilled, but can also be breaded, baked, or sautéed for a delicious meal. The fillet is the meat cut from the side of the fish. This versatile cut is used in most common fish recipes and can be seasoned, marinated, baked, fried, sautéed, whatever you can possibly think of.
The butterfly fillet cut is achieved by removing the head and inside of the fish, including the rib bones. Essentially, all that's left are the fillets attached to the skin. When opened and placed flat, the two fillets are attached in the center and will take the shape of a butterfly. Recipes normally require you to pan fry or bake this cut in order to lock in moisture and flavor. A fish steak is cut perpendicular to the spine and may include the bones. Fish steaks are generally rendered from fish larger than 10 pounds, such as tuna, swordfish, salmon, cod, and mahi-mahi. A tail cut comes from the back end closest to the tail of a large fish and is normally cut and sold separately. This portion is large enough to serve several individuals and is best seasoned and roasted. And while not the most common cut, this bone-in is still very flavorful.
Shellfish is the culinary and fisheries term for aquatic invertebrates, used as food, including various species of mollusks and crustaceans. The mollusk variety are the most popular and includes clams, oysters, and mussels. These are usually purchased fresh and alive rather than frozen, and can be served raw or cooked in a variety of ways. Crustaceans include crab, lobster, shrimp, prawns, and crayfish. More than 10 million tons of crustaceans are harvested for consumption each year, with the majority being shrimp and prawns. That's a lot of cocktail parties. Crustaceans are rarely eaten raw, but are steamed, boiled, or grilled and used in a multitude of dishes or all on their own.
seafood is affected by season and sustainability. Seafood has gained popularity at an alarming rate. This caused the rise of destructive fishing practices and overfishing, which is the catching of fish faster than they can reproduce. Today, roughly 1/3 of assessed fish populations are overfished. If we continue at this rate, some experts believe the oceans may be devoid of seafood by 2048. Seasonality refers to the time of year when a specific food is at its peak, like strawberries in the summertime or pumpkins in the fall. Fish have their own seasons too, based on their migration, breeding, and spawning cycles. If fish are harvested during spawning season, stocks can diminish. This is why sustainability, the avoidance of depletion of a natural resource, is such an important factor in seafood choice. Sustainable seafood is caught or farmed in ways that consider the long-term vitality of the species and the well-being of the oceans, as well as the livelihoods of the communities dependent on fishing. The Monterey Bay Aquarium has been on the forefront of the sustainability movement with a program called Seafood Watch that maintains a sustainable seafood advisory list with the latest recommendations. Be sure to check out their website or download their app.
So let's talk about some center of the plate options, and we'll start with seafood. Salmon obviously being the most popular fish part of a duet or a fish course. Switch it up with some Arctic char. Looks the same, tastes the same, but yet is a different type of fish. We've learned a little bit about seasonality, and seasonality isn't just the time of year, but it could also include a phenomenon like the El Nino, where the waters change, the water temperature changes, and the colder water fish have to swim out further, which will drive the cost. Look for a local sea bass as opposed to the higher priced Chilean sea bass. Shellfish. Shellfish is something that I would completely avoid in a center plate presentation, merely due to allergies. If a guest is insistent on serving shellfish, whether shrimp or oysters, try pushing that into a reception style area where people who are not allergic to these can enjoy these options.
Let's review the fresh catches. Seafood is made up of fish and shellfish. Now, fish can be freshwater or saltwater, lean or oil rich, flaky or firm, dark or white. The different cuts of fish include the whole fish, loins, fillet, butterfly fillet, steak, and tail. Shellfish includes mollusks and crustaceans. Mollusks include clams, oysters, and mussels. Crustaceans include crabs, lobsters, shrimp, prawn, and crayfish. Seasonality, when seafood is at its peak, and sustainability, the avoidance of the depletion of a natural resource, are important to note when selecting seafood.